Hey guys, my name is Kamran Waziir, and in this video we're going to talk about how to make groundbreaking VFX. So I'm going to import the footage. I'm going to go ahead and I will also give you the link to the same footage in the description. This video is recorded by Said. Thanks for the video. So in render setting, let's go into color management and change it to standard. And output, try to match the frame rate to exactly the frame rate of the video, which is 29.97 frame per second. So first of all, I'm going to click free page to load the video into the RAM, and then all the settings or the default setting, just click detect features and it will add trackers by default. You can decrease the threshold to increase the level of trackers, and I'm gonna delete this one and I'm gonna track forward. Again, I'm gonna click detect features and I'm gonna drag backward, something like that. And now you can expand the video window and you can delete the one that are going out of the way. So I'm going to select them one by one and delete them. Let's select those and also those one. Now we have a very cleaner workspace. So now let's go ahead to solve and make the keyframe A 20 and keyframe B 92. Click focal length, another option, and click solve camera motion. Here you can see we got the error of 0.49. I'm gonna click filter track and I'm gonna make the threshold level down so we can select the bed trackers. As you can see, it's selected one by chance. I don't know why is that. Now it's selected two. Hit X and delete them and solve camera motion. So we got a 0.5, and let's again click clean tracks and increase the pre-projection error until three of them are selected, and just increase it. X delete, solve camera motion, and let's wait. So we got an error of 0.18, which is really good. Scroll down and click setup tracking scene, as you can see. So now select three trackers that you want. I'm gonna select those three trackers. I'm gonna click floor and it will add those tracker as a floor. I'm gonna select this one and this one, and first of all I'm gonna select that one and click set origin. Select both of them and click set scale. Increase the distance value to something like 9.4 and click set scale. I think I'm gonna decrease it to 7.9 and set scale, and that's perfect. Now it's time to go ahead and select the direction. I'm gonna select this tracker and set x-axis. I think that one, yeah, that one. Click set x-axis, and as you can see, it's perfectly aligning with the road. And now it's time to go into general and go into layout. Select the camera and go into camera view. Expand the window and make sure to move the cube upward so it's on the surface of the grid, or you can say the surface of the plane. And if you play the video, as you can see, it's perfectly staying there, and this is what we wanted. For example, if I delete the plane and I just left with the cube, as you can see, the cube is perfectly staying there. Now you can add any sort of object into it. I'm going to play it and see how does it looks like, and I think that's like kind of cool. I'm gonna rotate it on Z and shade auto smooth. Okay, so right now, as you can see, it's perfectly playing, and this is what we wanted. Let's delete the cube and let's delete the background also. X delete, and if we go into layers, as you can see, background layer, and click cross to delete the background also, so we left with the foreground layer only, because we will not have problems. Okay, let's hit Ctrl S and save the file, because if you don't save, you're likely gonna lose your progress. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it in a folder. I'm gonna call it track, and I'm gonna click save blender file to save our work. So now I Ctrl S and save it. Okay, so go into camera view, under background image, increase opacity so we can better see the footage. I'm gonna create a plan by hitting Shift A. I'm gonna move it toward Y-axis, and I'm gonna move it toward X-axis like that, and I'm going to change the transform orientation to local, and I'm gonna move it towards that direction. I'm gonna scale it up like that so we cover up this area. I'm gonna go into edit mode and click I to inset. And again, I'm gonna click P to separate the selection. So I just selected the inside of it. Maybe I can a little bit scale it up and click P selection. And as you can see, we made a separate object from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply all transform by hitting Ctrl A, then set the origin to center of mass. Now go into edit mode of the plan and subdivide it many times. So you have enough geometry to work with. I'm gonna go ahead into camera view. Maybe I can hit Ctrl Z to decrease one of the subdivision. I'm gonna go into edge selection. I'm gonna go into top view. I'm gonna hit B and select all of those edges, and let's go into camera view. F3, search for a random and select mesh transform randomize. It will randomize the vertices like that. And if we go into camera view, it's bumpy, so let's click S, Z and 0, so it's just have 0 scale at Z, but another one will be perfect. Okay, in edit mode, I'm gonna select everything and I'm gonna hit E to extrude it downward. I'm gonna slightly move it up because I don't want a huge sort of thing. I'm gonna go into object mode, Control S and save the file. Let's go into camera view and select the plane. Maybe in edit mode we can go ahead and select the outer edges, something like that, and click S to scale it up on all directions. So I'm gonna go into camera view and I'm gonna click anywhere in the viewport and hit Control S. I'm gonna go ahead into preferences, under get extension, search for cell fracture add-on, and this add-on is really good. Just search for cell fracture. I have installed it, but you will have install option there. Just click it, and add-ons you can also search for cell fracture. Here we go, it's turned on and the box is checked, and that's it. Now save the preferences and get back into Blender. Okay, so now it's time to go into object, quick effects, and you can see we got a cell fracture. Just click it and it will pop up a window, but I think I gotta set it to on vertex. I'm gonna make the recursion to 2, and I'm gonna make the cursor close, maybe. Okay, so I think cursor is far away, so let me just abort the process by clicking anywhere. Shift A is cursor to selected, and again going to object, quick effects and cell fracture. Now you can click on vertex. I'm gonna set the to cursor close and recursion to 2, and I'm gonna click OK, and it will create separate meshes. Wait for this to happen. It's happening very fast. I love this thing about it. So what it does, it will create more smaller pieces near to the cursor, and this is why I click close cursor. I'm gonna delete the main plane object because we now have pieces, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the selection, and I'm gonna turn off selection for the outer and for the camera, so we cannot select them in viewport by chance. I'm gonna go into top view, so I can only, okay, so I'm gonna select all the plan pieces, this one, click M and add it to its own collection, call the collection ground and click create. So you have a separate collection for the physics particles. I'm gonna hit Control S and save it. So now if we go ahead and go into the top and right click and click select objects, and maybe I can select this object, and I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new window. I'm gonna click new, and I'm gonna add I'm gonna go ahead into frame number 141, maybe 161, and I'm gonna click Shift A. I'm gonna add texture. It's gonna be an image texture. I'm gonna connect these with the best color, and I'm gonna open up the video. I'm gonna click open image, and now I'm gonna set the frames. So for the offset, I'm gonna go ahead and set it. I'm gonna first select the cyclic and auto refresh, and for the different values, I'm gonna set it to 141 and 141. Maybe, I think, because we're staying on 141 frame. And wait a second. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this on. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and select all the object and hit Control L and link material, so you can have the same material for all of them. Go to edit, select all of them and click U and project from view. So now if we just go ahead and turn off the other plane, go into edit and go into object, Control S and save the file. If you go into material, as you can see, it's perfectly aligning there, and select all of them and click subdivide to subdivide them, so we have enough geometry to have a perfect sort of road there. So I think I gotta turn on the selection tool, and I'm gonna go ahead and select the outer plane. I'm gonna go ahead into object settings. So first of all, I'm gonna go into render. I'm gonna set it to cycles. I'm gonna change the device to GPO. I'm gonna turn on denoise. Under film, I'm gonna turn on transparent. In the object settings, under visibility, you have shadow catcher. Just click it and also hold out, so we cannot see in the viewport. So right now, as you can see, we gotta select all of them, and maybe we can go ahead into okay. So I think I'm gonna first match the color. So first of all, I'm gonna click Shift A. I'm gonna create a color. It's a hue saturation node, and I'm gonna make the roughness all the way up, and I'm gonna go ahead and make the saturation down to match the color of the road. I'm gonna create a new color which is RGB curves, and I'm gonna make it slightly darker so it matches with the color of the ground. And I'm gonna select all of the objects by right clicking the collection. Under UV editor, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off outline selected in origin, and I'm in edit mode. I'm gonna select all of them, and let's just play around with UV so it's perfectly matched with the real road. Just slightly move it until it works for you, until it looks good. So right now I'm just trying to find a best spot for this one, and maybe I can project from you again. And if I go into shader editor, I gotta set the starting frame to 1, and you project from view. I'm just trying to fix the perfection of the road with the CG road. I'm gonna go ahead into first frame, and I'm gonna go ahead and just try to match with the road. I think I messed up something, but if I do really, then do a comment, because I really want to know what I messed up right now. But it worked before, and I think it's fine. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it's fine because it's perfectly staying there, and it's not it doesn't feel to be there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on outline and origin. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead into solid. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off selection for the outer plane. I'm gonna select the pieces, outer pieces of the, maybe I can go ahead and add a rigid body physics into the outer plane by clicking selection tool out there, and again turn off the selection. And if I just select those pieces, and I'm gonna go ahead and select all of them, something like that, because I want them to stay there and I don't want them to move. So I'm gonna select them one by one, and I'm gonna go ahead, and I think I'm gonna select them again perfectly. Just do whatever I do, whatever I select here, because it's important. So you have enough space for your product to come out of the road. So I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to go ahead into object under rigid body, click add passive, so it have a passive physics. I'm going to change it to mesh, and right click, copy to selected. Now go ahead to the top view, and now what we need to do, I'm gonna go to select invert, and as you can see, inside is selected. Under object, rigid body, click add active, and change select one of the active one here, and change the convex to mesh. Right click, copy to selected. And now if we just click Ctrl S and save the file. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and create a plan down there, so we can have something that holds the particle from falling down. So I'm gonna create it, and I'm gonna go ahead and make it a rigid body. I'm gonna set it to passive, and Ctrl S and save the file. So if I play it now, it's gonna be slower, but you have to wait for this. They're blowing away. I don't know why Blender physics blow away from one another. But I think there are some problem with Blender physics. There are some add-ons that I will talk about it in the end of the video that can do this work very fast, but I'm just using the default stuff. I'm gonna move this thing a bit up and extrude it so it have a solid sort of look. I'm gonna change it to mesh, and I'm gonna go ahead to surface response for the plan down there, and I'm gonna make the margin to 0. So now if we just go ahead and turn these off for I'm gonna turn on collision margin, and I'm gonna make it 0 for that one also. It's also a mesh. I'm gonna turn off the selection tool also, and I'm gonna go ahead into rigid bodies. I'm gonna set the speed, but first of all Control S and try to set the speed for this. So on the first frame it's gonna be 3.5. I'm gonna hit I, and on the frame number 60 maybe, I'm gonna set it to 1, and I'm gonna click I again, or this dot there. If you play it, it's gonna be slower, but you have to wait for this to load because it's Blender physics system and it's a piece of shit. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead into cache, and I'm gonna make the starting frame to something like 80 or something. I'm gonna grab this keyframe to backward, and now if I play it, it's starting from 1, because we need to set up the starting frame for the timeline to 80, so it will fix the problem. But right now if I play it, as you can see, they are moving apart. So I'm gonna set the margin to 0 for this, and okay, so I'm gonna go ahead to first frame. I'm gonna go ahead to top. I'm just trying to select the passive one, but I think I can't select them. If you know how to select the object that have the same physics, let me know in the comment section below, because I really don't know. If you know, then share me this info. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead into a render and let's match the lighting with the okay. So in world setting, I'm gonna click the dot and I'm gonna go ahead and add an HDRI. I will give you the link to the same HDRI in the description so you can use it and you get the perfect lighting. So I'm gonna go ahead into world settings and I'm gonna check transparent again so we can see the HDRI. I'm gonna hit Control T on the environment texture and I'm gonna change the rotation to 180. Again transparent, so now it's very white and we need to fix it. So for that I'm gonna move this a little bit further. I may decrease the strength of the world and maybe I can make it 0.7. So Shift A, I'm gonna add a RGB curves. I can maybe make it a bit higher so we get some sort of blackish look. And I'm just trying to match the color with the ground, so you just need to try that out. And maybe I can change, maybe I can remove the RGB curve and I can add a hue saturation node. Just try to fix the problem. Whatever you use, you may use a brightness and contrast, you may use hue saturation. So whatever you use is best for this. I'm gonna set the hue to something like that. I think it's now working, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and try another one and I'm gonna connect it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off transparent and let's see. I think it's perfectly facing the right direction, but I think I'm gonna go into camera view and turn on transparent. Okay, so right here we have some sort of white kind of thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the whole setting. I'm gonna select go into object and I'm gonna go ahead and delete the setup for the object. I'm gonna create a brightness, contrast, connect to color, and then connect to base color. So right now what we need to do, we need to go ahead and make the brightness a bit down, something like 0.01, and maybe I can go for minus 0.01, which is really good. And I'm gonna go ahead and 0.01, and I think it's matching. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add a I'm gonna add a hue saturation node, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to change the saturation a bit down so we can match the color with the road. And it's a bit difficult to match the perfect color, so you need to be very focused on that. You need to make it real, so that's why you just gotta change different values in order to make it real, in order to match it with a real scene. So I think that's fine, and I have another scene already, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to copy some settings from it. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe I can make the say brightness to 0.05, and maybe I can go ahead and check it out. So I have hue saturation 0.6. I'm gonna go ahead and make it 0.6, and okay, I can play around with values, but I think the default was good. So hit Control Z until you get to the default value. Control Z, and I think it's fine. Control S and save the file. I think that's fine. Okay, so now it's time to simulate stuff going on. So first of all, I'm gonna go into solid and save the file. So I'm gonna go ahead into file, import, and import GLB. I will put the link to the same model in the description if you want to use it. It's really good model. It's from sketchfab.com, and I think that is the best model I have ever seen. Texturing is a bit off, but overall model is very detailed. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and see the model. I think I'm gonna hit Control Z, select everything, select one object, and Control J to join them. Alt P and clear the parent. Okay. So in object mode, I'm gonna go ahead into edit mode. I'm gonna select this object. I'm gonna go ahead into material settings. I'm gonna change it to face and select this object. And I think other object also selected. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into wireframe, hit Control and box selection to deselect these parts that I don't want to manipulate. So I'm gonna go ahead and deselect them. I'm gonna delete those faces. In solid mode, I'm gonna delete it also. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and delete these objects also. I can go ahead into vertex selection and delete the extra objects that are outside of the model. I'm gonna go ahead in wireframe and select all of those things. So okay, so in object mode, control S. Now it's time to make a proxy object for physics, because this is a very high poly object. If we use it, it's gonna crash our blender. So for that reason, I'm gonna go ahead, shift S cursor to select it. I'm gonna create a cube. I'm gonna go ahead into x-axis. I'm gonna scale up the cube and scale it on x-axis so it fits the this area. I'm gonna go ahead into y-axis, and in wireframe I'm gonna go ahead into edit mode, and I'm gonna try to select the top one. I'm gonna go again in extrude it. Maybe I can scale it down, hit A to extrude, scale it down, hit A to extrude, scale it down like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just scale it down and move it up like that. Okay, so right now if we just select everything by hitting A, S and Shift Z to scale it down on every axis, I'm gonna go ahead and scale it on y-axis as well, and I'm gonna also scale it down on z-axis. I'm gonna go ahead and move it down a bit. Okay, so right now I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control S and save the file. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the visibility to bound so you can better see it. I'm gonna parent these with the box object. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply all scale. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab it to the main scene that we are working on. So if I go into and move it towards that direction into the middle of the ground, so if I hit Control S and save the file, if I go into a render and I turn off the viewport, okay, so right now as you can see it looks like that, and I think that's looking good. Because the lighting is like that, so that's why it's looking like that. I'm gonna go ahead into solid. I'm gonna go ahead and animate these objects. So what I'm going to do on frame number 80, what I'm gonna do, hit Control S, delete all backs, and I'm gonna make it to 80. I'm gonna make the starting to 80 frame, so hit Control S and save the file. So first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move it slightly up and click, maybe I can slightly move forward, and I'm gonna go ahead and I will see how it looks like. So as you can see, if I add keyframe on the first frame and on the end, as you can see, it's looking like that and it's behaving that way. Maybe I can slightly move it down and hit I again. So maybe I think it's very fast, and maybe I can just move it like that. And okay, so right now I'm gonna set the starting of the animation to somewhere right here. If I play it, as you can see, it looking like that. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. It's looking like that. You can just tweak around the settings because it's not like a perfect value that you can just go ahead and set and it will work out. You just need to do everything. As you can see, it's perfectly matching with the ground, and as you can see, it looking like that. And okay, so I'm gonna hit Control S and save the file. So as you can see, the particles are dancing around. There are many reasons for that, and we will talk about it right away. So I'm gonna go ahead into the scene settings. I'm gonna set the substep to 25 for both the values, and I'm gonna go ahead and save the file. I'm gonna click back. Oh, it is again crashed. I'm gonna open up the same file again. I will try, and I'm gonna open it up. Oh, okay, it crashed here, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the video. So it looking like that. I'm gonna go ahead and select the plane in its physics settings. I'm gonna go ahead and make the friction to 1 and make it something like 0.71 and save the file. So if I go into camera and reset the animation and play it, now I think the dancing will be a bit decreased, and I'm gonna go ahead into scene settings. On the first frame, it's moving very fast, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make the speed to 5, and let's click play to play the animation, and it's looking like that. I think it's looking like a shit, so Maybe I can change some settings in physics and okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead into the first frame where the speed is very high. I'm gonna set the speed to 0.1. I don't know, is it faster with a smaller number or slower? I don't know, but I'm just experimenting around. Oh, I think the small number is very fast, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the speed to something like 10 or something. I'm gonna hit I again. I'm gonna play it and see how does it feels like. So I think now it's perfectly not moving very fast, not moving far away, so I think that's fine. But we can tweak around some settings. I'm gonna go ahead and set the ending to 120. I'm gonna save the file, and okay, so what I'm gonna go what I'm gonna do is to go ahead and play the simulation. Let's go ahead and change some settings and go ahead and play it again. So I think it is bursting upward before I grab my object upward. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set the start to 78, and if I play the simulation, I think the simulation is not interacting with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go ahead, and if I play it, and let's change some settings. Okay, as you can see, it's bursting out before the purse just touch it. So we're gonna fix this problem very quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this object, and I think we lost an object, the cube object. I don't know where is it, but I'm trying to find it. But I'm gonna add a rigid body, a passive one, to the purse, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control S, and let's play the project and see how does it looks like. I think I need to change the animation. Okay, so everything's stuck there. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead, here is our cube, and I think I need to turn on for viewport and render both of them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the physics from the purse object and select this cube. Go ahead and create a rigid body passive and click animated. Let's set the starting frame to 80, and let's Control S and play it. So let's see the animation and how does it looks like. So I think now it's looking much better than before, because it's now interacting with our object. Because when it's move up, as you can see, other objects are pushed away from its own position. So if I go into camera view, as you can see, but I think I just need to just tweak the animation. I'm going to select both keyframes, slightly move them backward and slightly move them forward. Maybe I can just a bit move it forward and play the simulations. And as you can see, the purse is coming out, but it's still dancing around. I don't know why is that, but I will try to fix the problem in the video. So I'm gonna go ahead into okay, so that simulation is not the best simulation ever. So you can get an add-on called RBD Lab, which is really good for this sort of simulation. It is paid add-on, but it will save you so much time. Like everything I did now, you can do it in just a few clicks. Like just click an object, just click cell fracture, just click physics, just click the starting and ending. Like it's like a magic. It's working like a magic. You can add dust, you can add debris, you can add smoke. You can literally add anything into these, and it will just do it right away. So like the Blender default physics system is like a piece of shit. You need to give it so much time to fix problem in order to fix it. So I'm gonna set the ending frame to 140 maybe, and I think if I just play these like that and see how this the result on 140. Okay, so as you can see, if I played in the beginning, it's starting very faster, but I think I can tweak it around. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set the ending to 250. I was just playing around with it, and okay, so I think if I select this object and I select I'm gonna move this object out, so I'm gonna select all of those in this collection. I think I selected other object also, so I'm gonna select them one by one, and I'm gonna try to deselect, but I'm gonna select both of them. So I'm gonna click Go ahead and select all objects, the inside object, and increase the friction. Right click, copy to selected. So all of them have the higher level of friction, and you can also go ahead and have the same friction level. So if you go ahead and select all of the objects like that, and you can just play around with margin, you can set the margin to 0.012 and copy to selected. So this time the flickering will be gone, the dancing will be gone. Just save your file and play it, so you can have the final back for your simulation. So if you play it, as you can see, it's slowly playing, but it might take some time, but give it some time because it's like going to be the final one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play the simulation. Watch it. I just love to watch it. Okay, I think it's a good. Okay, okay. Yeah, now it's looking good. And now it's time to go ahead and save the file. Click current cache to back. As you can see, now the data is backed. So if you go into render, as you can see, it's looking like that. Let's go ahead and set the start frame to 1 right now and select the cube here. First of all, we're gonna create a mesh, which is gonna be a cube. I'm gonna move it here. I'm gonna scale it on both the axes. I'm gonna move it here. I'm gonna move it down like that. I'm gonna scale it up, and I'm gonna add a material which is called a holdout material, and it will hide everything behind it. And this is what we wanted. Control S and save the file. Go ahead into somewhere. Okay, select this cube and turn this off for render and also the viewport, so you can see what is going on. Okay, so go ahead into solid, go ahead to composite, delete everything here. Shift A, create search for a composite. No, not a composite, render layer node. Delete the compositing. Okay, so now go into input, create a movie clip, add a color, mix and alpha over, connect it to the top one and the movie to the bottom one. Connect these to both the images for the viewer and composite. Let's go ahead into output, set the to FFmpeg and select a location. Go ahead and change the encoding to MPEG-4. And let's go ahead into render, set the samples to 20 for now, and go ahead Control S and hit F12 or render the image. Okay, so we got a problem here, which is actually this white sort of thing appearing. So we need to disappear this. It's actually the box or the proxy object that we created for the box for the. I'm gonna go ahead and click the render icon, so it's not rendering. I'm gonna go ahead and click render image. Let's wait for the final render and see what we get here. Okay, so now as you can see, nothing's happened because we plugged to wrong socket. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead into composite and just invert those two sockets. I'm gonna connect this one to the top one and the other one to the bottom one. As you can see, it's perfectly composited into your shot, and this is what we wanted. So thanks for watching.